I'm Kelly, Jack's daughter. Reading glasses. I met Jack 36 years ago when my sister Lori and I were catering a holiday party for the Northwest Regional Educational Laboratory, where Mom worked. I told my bosses at the catering service that my mom's company would hire them, but only if they would let Lori and me be the servers. So that's when I met Jack. He was really happy that night. He smiled a lot. He really enjoyed Mom's company. We were wary. Oh, we accepted the drink tickets he slipped us. But we also kept an eye on him. We had a Mom to protect. But we noticed something different about Mom that night. She was having a fun time with this guy. Her eyes had their twinkle back. So we've all talked about that Jack made things. And so I also want to talk about a couple of the things that he made. Starting with my top 4. So, the fourth best thing that Jack made, in my opinion, was this music box for my mom. And with their theme song,
No, keep holding.
Press and hold.
Is it light on? Oh.
do you hear what the song is? Yeah. The Wind Beneath My Wings.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, I don't know how to turn this off. I think I should. Anyway, that was their theme song. For good reason. I mean, since we all know about their lives and the troubles they both had. And anyway, that was their theme song. So we all know that Jack could make anything. He made so many things it's impossible to name them all. So I'm just going to give you some of my highlights. Here are some of the things around our home that Jack made. Earrings, hand mirrors, a working clock with a handmade frame and one of Jack's photos as the face. Not of Jack. Not of Jack. Oh, that would have been okay as long as if it were that selfie that he did. Yes. I would like that. An ice cream scoop, wine corks, a bottle opener, the leather coasters engraved with our initials on them in that beautiful bowl. Not the only bowl he ever gave me. A leather change purse. He gave me this leather change purse a long time ago, and as a stocking stuffer that year, he also gave me a little bag of plastic fake flies. So I saved that change purse forever, and I put all the flies in it. And then it just sat. Nobody knew. It was years. And then years later, for one of our holiday get-togethers, I put one of those flies right on his plate. I still have more soap. Anyway. Let's see, he also made me a cutting board that I used so much over the years that I had to bring it back for refurbishing. You know about that, Marion. A serving tray like this one that Mom made a cloth insert for, which is something I really appreciated about how they celebrated the holidays, is that they made joint Christmas presents. They made everything themselves, and each of them would make one part and the other would make the other part. So one year Jack made the frame and Mom made a soft sculpture postcard with each of those postcards designed to suit the person, couple, child that it was meant for, with a nice, thing written on the back. A working fountain with his angel logo on it. And it's actually in our back patio right now. It belongs to Lori, but she's let me borrow it. And filled with beautiful rocks, and it's just a beautiful working fountain. It's incredible. We also have in our patio a 3-tiered kitchen cart on wheels, and 2 of the shiniest, smoothest Adirondack chairs that you will ever sit on. He made them for our house for me. And we live in Southeast Portland, so we keep them chained up to the house. And speaking of houses, there really is a house that Jack built. In fact, an entire house, not like a little, boat. An entire house. And there are many more houses that Jack rebuilt that we all got to enjoy. And we all know about his artistry. We all have his art all around our houses. In our house, we have on the bookshelf a ceramic sculpture that he made called Youth. It's just a wonderful little sculpture. His masterpiece, I feel, is the cover for Mom's book, Looking Through Water. He created that picture with the shiny dime below the batik ripples of water. Beautiful. Just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So once again, they created something together. Granted, Mom wrote the whole book, but Jack did read it about 18 times. The third best thing that Jack ever made, in my opinion, was a toilet seat. They had an extensive go bag, or rather a go cabinet. In their garage, it held all of their emergency provisions, and including this handcrafted toilet
seat. To hold it in the bucket.
Yes.
Oh, yes, and it's made to fit perfectly into a 5-gallon bucket. So, I'm not really sure what wood he made it from. I don't think it was birch, because Jack didn't belong to the Birch John Society. Now we know how many old people are here. So why does this toilet seat rate higher than this music box? Because, I mean, the music box, labor-intensive, intricate. I mean, if you look at it, you can see how much work went into this. So why is this more important? It's the third best thing he ever made, because he sanded and sanded and sanded and buffed, because he wanted to make sure that his beloved Judy did not get any splinters. The second best thing that Jack made was my sister Marion and my brother Lee. It might have taken less work than the music box, but and though I'm not Jack's biological daughter, today we're cut from the same cloth. These are his suspenders, too. I had to really shorten them. I've got the lighters that were in Jack's pockets pocket, one pocket, when he was on the golf course. So there's that one, that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So I thought he just must go around picking up every lighter he sees. You know, I mean, does it work? Yeah, keep it. And then I recognized one that I gave him a year ago. So he's not just going around picking up random lighters. Why he needs 6, I don't know. But I mean, I gave this to him a year ago. So when I'm going, what? Hey, wait a minute, that looks familiar. So anyway, I would offer them to people as souvenirs, but there's been a new law in Oregon which makes it more likely that I'm going to need these. He also, in his pocket, he had photos of his wife, his children, and his grandchildren. And some golf balls and golf tees. But he made it to the 9th hole. I told him that too, in the hospital. I also told him that he got to ride in the new life flight helicopter y'all just got. And when we turned his hospital bed around, he could see the helipad where he landed. He couldn't talk, but he could understand what we were saying to him, and he could say things to us. I actually said, you know, Jack, I think you really went out of your way to get a ride on that new chopper. This guy, there has to have been a better way. Anyway, when we turned his hospital bed around, he was actually to see that helipad, and that, you know, I think that meant something to him. He couldn't talk, but we could understand him when he said, I love you. If we would say, I love you, he could kind of say, I love, he didn't have enough breath, but he would say, I love you. And he eventually, on his last night of life, he got out an entire sentence. Breathy, because he didn't have the lung capacity, but he got that sentence out. And it was to his granddaughters, Keely and Kirsta. And in a whisper, he said to them, I appreciate you, and I love you. I strive to be like Jack, not just my outfit. He was my role model. Like my brother said, he was so forgiving. But he also didn't suffer fools. Because ain't nobody got time for that. Not a phrase that he'd use. A phrase that he would probably use would be, well, yeah. As in, Jack, I might say some things at your celebration of life today that will make people cry, including me. And his response would be, well, yeah. So I want to remind you of the key lyric from Wind Beneath My Wings, their song to each other, because I dedicate it to Jack. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? You're everything that I want to be. I learned so much from Jack. You got to put a lot of sugar on your berries. When you're making dessert, he specifically told me, you got to put a lot of sugar on the fruit and then let it set for a while. He wanted to take me to a steakhouse in New York City while Mom and Grandma were there doing Course in Miracles seminars a while back. So we went to the only steakhouse that I knew of, and when I opened the menu and saw the prices, $50 for a steak, and that was lunch. I was horrified. I apologized and said, we can go somewhere else. And he laughed because he knew how expensive it would be going in. And he knew I didn't. He got a good chuckle out of that. He ordered flank steak, which I thought was odd. You could have filet mignon or ribeye with flank steak. Anyway, he only ate half of it, and he gave me the doggy bag. Oh my God, that was the best steak I've ever had. It was so good. He taught me about flank steak. I learned from him that there's a limit to how many bushels you can love someone. He told me that one night when they were lying in bed, Mom said, I love you 10 bushels. And he said, I love you 20 bushels. So she said, I love you 30 bushels. So he said, I love you 40 bushels. To which she replied, you can't. 30 is the most bushels you could love someone. Jack taught me a lot about farm life. Sometimes whether you wanted to know about it or not, that it was really great going to that farm, living on the farm, hanging out. We planted a field of Christmas trees one year. He taught me to ride a horse Western style, turned me into a cowboy. Not just me, others too. My cousin Tim Madison got the cowboy treatment. Well, Tim was already a cowboy. I think Jack just toughened him up a little bit more. My cousin Judio became a cowboy. She was his wingman for his ride-alongs on the farm. He built an entire kitchen ergonomically sized for Mom, 5 feet tall, my height. The counter came up to here. In order to make the antique stove work, he had to cut a hole in the floor. Once when I brought a friend to the farm, we woke up to the smell of bacon and Mom calling out, Jack, you castrate that bull yet? He said, nope, couldn't find the pliers. True story. The number one thing that Jack made, in my humble and biased opinion, he made Mom very happy. Yeah. But with Mom gone, I get the last word. Jack, I love you 31 bushels.